Hey, Curtis,
Hey, Oz.
what movie do you have to kick off April?
Oh, I got a real winner for you today. I got a marriage of Hulk Hogan's Rocket Wrestling crossed with a bit of Saving Silverman, meets Scream, and a sprinkle of "Let me tell you something, Gene. The cream always rises to the top. Step into Slim Jim."
The cream of the crop. Oh, what movie are we watching, though?
We're watching. It doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't.
We're watching Slim Jim commercials. No, this week we're watching 2000's Ready to Rumble. I forgot to say the movie.
You did.
I did. I got so into Macho Man.
I don't blame you. Macho Man's an easy one to get sucked into. Who is your when it comes to promo shoots?
Yeah.
Old school promo shoots. Savage or Warrior?
Savage was better at it. Warrior was just weird. Like he had tons of energy.
Oh yeah.
There was the one where he's like, and the pilot will crash the plane.
Yeah.
He just goes off the deep end.
I feel like Savage performed for the camera, and Warrior they just press record and get back. And
he didn't even know he was on camera.
No,
that was just him ranting.
He's just room. Here's a dark room with my mask logo on the back wall as I'm raising the roof and talking to the cosmos and
the spiritual realm.
I know it's I picture is it Jim Hellwig? Was that his name?
Yes, yeah, Jim Hellwig.
I picture him with this uppity British accent, memorizing zodiacs and then coming on screen and performing.
As he's drinking his tiny teacup with his pinky up.
Is it time? Is it time for me?
Is it time to record, Jeeves? Pardon me. I'm gonna crash this plane into the side of a mountain.
Welcome back, listeners and viewers, to another week of Let's Talk About Flicks.
What an opening, guys!
The podcast where we take a monthly theme and satisfy the theme. It is a new month, and because we doubled up a couple of weeks ago, so we haven't chatted in a couple of weeks.
Yes, it's been a few weeks,
and so we doubled up to end March, and we are kicking off April, which fittingly it's WrestleMania weekend.
It is WrestleMania weekend,
and so we're kicking off with a WCW themed movie.
Yep, very timely.
Yeah, we're gonna be talking about Ready to Rumble as we kick off a month of wrestlers in movies.
It's the month everyone's been waiting for.
Yeah, you will not find any deliberate. Well, actually, no, there just isn't. It's all your 80s classic, 80s, 90s wrestlers. You're not going to be finding any The Rock. You're not.
Yeah, that's too obvious.
Yeah, wait.
No Expendables with Steve Austin.
No, we were really trying. I think we were really going for films that were pre wrestlers as full blown entertainers.
Yeah,
we were still looking at wrestlers back when they were athletic, sports entertainment.
Yes, back when they were wrestlers.
Right before McMahon gave them the okay to actually venture off into other endeavors for their brand. It was back when hey, I heard Roddy Piper was in this movie, or hey, did you see that Hulkster movie? And so it's going to be a month of that, and so we're kicking off with really it's the most meta, I think, of the movies we're going to watch this month.
Or at least the attempt to be meta.
Right, of the wrestlers in a movie. We're talking about Ready to Rumble, the WCW. Did they finance this movie?
Yes, they paid for this. This was a WCW venture.
Yeah, this was ahead of its time in a way. I mean,
sort of. I saw what they were trying to do here.
Yeah, I do too.
It just didn't work.
No,
both in the movie and in real life, or at least real wrestling life.
Yeah,
this movie was the final nail in the coffin for WCW.
Yeah. This was the Sega CD, but just not good. Like Sega's like, our time has come. We're about done. Let's put out one more console. Give it everything we got. And the Sega CD was pretty awesome. But it just, nobody had it. And so it died. And WCW died shortly afterwards as well.
It was too early for disc technology.
It was. Even though the PlayStation 1 was out, but
like I said, too early for disc technology.
Whatever happened to PlayStation?
Never heard of it.
It is your week.
It is my week. So you got the characters, my friend.
I got the cast here.
What a cast!
It's somehow a short yet long cast. So I'm going to really go. I'm just going to name off the actors.
Sure.
Okay, actors in their roles. Because otherwise, you're looking at all of these people, plus the wrestling personalities section of Wikipedia is 1.5 times as long as the cast. So you have you got friends David Arquette and Scott. Is it Caan or Caan?
I think it's Caan.
Caan. Playing Gordie Boggs and Sean Dawkins, aka the Law and Sugar Daddy. That'll come up. And so, boy, how far they've fallen. Because you figure David Arquette, he's been better in other things, but he comes from a long line of much more talented Arquettes.
Yes, he's the lesser of the Arquettes.
And Scott Caan, of course, son of James Caan, one known for much better movies than this.
Yes.
You have, and they really are there are idiots of the group.
Yes.
They're the wrestling fanatics that base their livelihood on the reality of wrestling.
Yes, this is where kind of the Saving Silverman reference in the marriage.
For sure.
A couple white idiot males in their early to mid 20s who just kind of derp around and derp themselves into things, and things end up getting derped.
It's just not as charming as the derpiness of Saving Silverman.
Yes.
And so they, like I said, there are non-entertainers of the group. You've got Gordie's dad, who's just a terrible police officer, just a
terrible person.
Yeah, just an awful person. But really, the other actors that are performing are Oliver Platt as Jimmy King, the most believable WCW champion of all time, and Titus Sinclair, played by everyman Joe Pantoliano. You've known him from The Matrix. You know him. Like I said, from The Matrix, you know him from Goonies. The dude's a little bit everywhere in this time. And so he's your Eric Bischoff. Is it Eric Bischoff?
Eric Bischoff, yes.
Yeah. He's your Eric Bischoff caricature. He's your Vince McMahon-esque kind of guy.
Yeah, the head writer, the big promoter.
Right.
I was reading in the trivia that Eric Bischoff was actually supposed to basically play like a fictionalized version of his fictional character.
Okay. Right.
But they decided at the last minute they decided not to, and so they wrote the Sinclair character for Joey Pants.
Fair enough. And they should have just went and got Jim Crockett. I think he would have done a good job with his croquet or his racquetball racket.
There you go.
You've got Rose McGowan showing up as Sasha, again, the most believable Nitro girl of all time. She's the lead Nitro girl. She is built like a Nitro girl just as much as Oliver Platt is built like a professional wrestler. And that's not taking it away from Rose McGowan, but she doesn't possess a dancer's body. That's not body shaming. Rose McGowan is perfectly fine. But she's just not a Nitro girl, despite being the lead Nitro girl.
Yeah.
You got Caroline Ray making an appearance.
Of all people, Caroline Ray.
Right. You got Louis Arquette showing up. You got Chris Owen. One of those guys that you see him and you just know him. You know, redheaded.
He was in every one of those movies from like the late 90s through the mid-aughts.
Martin Landau playing Stu Hart, basically.
Oh, and boy, did Martin Landau act the butt off in this movie.
Yes, he did. He did. just again a bunch of whatevers. Wrestler wise, though, I'm going to roll through these quickly. We've got a Goldberg, Diamond Dallas Page, Sting, Booker T, Randy Savage, Bam Bam Bigelow, Sid Vicious, Juventud Guerrero, Kurt Hennig, my favorite, Disco Inferno, Billy Kidman, Conan, Rey Mysterio without a mask, Perry Saturn, Van Hammer, Gorgeous George. You got Michael Buffer, Gene Okerlund, Tony Schiavone. You got the Nitro Girls, John Cena in an uncredited, not even a cameo. John Cena shows up in this movie the way Jean-Claude Van Damme shows up in in the Breakin' movie. He's just there, and you're like, wait a second. And so that's it. That's your cast. I almost feel like you could, if this were a jigsaw puzzle, you could just scatter the pieces onto a table and look at them unmatched up and been like, I know what this is going to look like.
Yep.
And that's pretty much what this is. So I'm going to sit back and let you weave us a tale.
Yeah. Here's 30 seconds for the plot.
Pretty much, yeah.
So basically, as you said before, Oz, we have our two derps, Gordie and Caan, whatever their names are, whatever.
Yeah.
And again, they're just the world's biggest pro wrestling fans. They don't believe it's scripted. They believe it's real. They believe in the soap opera.
Yep.
It's wrestling. It's pro wrestling. They open on Caan lecturing some kids in the parking lot of a mini mart about wrestling.
Right.
While Gordie drinks a Slurpee and reads a wrestling magazine. Then there's this bizarre dream sequence where Gordie goes into the store, and he and the store clerk, played by one of the Zappas.
Yeah. Not Dweezil.
No, not Dweezil. The other one.
Yeah.
They get into this kind of wrestling promo-esque,
very much
taunting each other, and then
it feels like it felt like the lead up to a commercial for those 18-inch wrestling dolls.
Yeah,
they
spring
plush,
off
it's like, oh, what was that like? I don't know. I'll have to look up what company that was, because I've got it in my mind, but I can't picture it. So anyway, go ahead.
And so, of course, they get into a wrestling fight right there in the mini mart, because it's
Galoob. That's what it was. Galoob. I kept wanting to say glucose, and I thought it wasn't right.
Get your sugar up with Galoob wrestling figures. Are you a type 2 diabetic?
Try these. They're sweet.
Nice. So in this dream sequence, Ahmed Zappa and David Arquette, I'm probably just going to use their real names throughout this movie.
That's perfectly fine.
or at least interchange them.
Yeah.
Get into a fight. Jimmy King! Oliver Platt's Jimmy King!
So stupid.
Comes out to back up Gordie. And then, of all people, Macho Man Randy Savage.
Oh, yeah.
Comes out to back up Ahmed Zappa. I guess
in the only time he's in the movie.
Yes, which is kind of bizarre given how this movie unfolds and all the people we see in it.
Yeah.
Apparently, and I guess this showed during the end credits.
Showed the credits. Yeah.
Oliver Platt accidentally punched Macho Man for real.
Jacked him, because I did watch that part of the credits, because I read it in the trivia when I was looking for something to do while this movie was on.
Anything other than watching the movie.
I'll read about it, but I saw that, so I made sure. And he hit him and was like, "Oh, Randy!" He popped him one.
Yeah. Gordie he was trying to get a free refill on his Slurpee, so he put his finger down the crack of his pants, and then held it near the straw and had Ahmed Zappa smell his finger, which is probably the most clever thing that happened in this entire movie. Yeah,
I watched it, I was like, I don't think that probably works, but okay.
Mm-hmm. Gordie's cop dad then screeches up in the parking lot, frisks them, because that's what cops do.
Because you're a cop, you got to frisk them all, even if they're your son.
Yeah. Because it's good to throw your power and authority around like that. Says wrestling's fake and that Gordie should become a cop. So that's really all you need to know about Dad. That's Dad,
like your mom and sister did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whole family of Smokies, state troopers.
Yep. My Own Worst Enemy by Lit plays as we transition to the next day.
For the first time.
The first time my own worst enemy played. And again, that's where like I really felt like this movie was. Was a year before Saving Silverman.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of movies in like the late '90s, the early aughts, like the American Pie movies. Like Bubble Boy.
Yep.
Even like Harold and Kumar.
Right.
Like those kind of movies. Where it was just, you're bouncing from scene to scene. There's always pop punk playing in the background. I really thought it was going to be that kind of movie.
You could even throw like a Clueless.
Yeah.
It really gave you that vibe that like, okay, we're going. We're not going to hang out too long.
Yeah.
We're not going to be too serious. We're going to,
It's just going to kind of laugh at itself and just move it along at a really brisk pace with a really thin plot, but fun, lovable, dumb characters.
Yeah. People that you'd be like, okay, this is, it's harmless.
Yes. And it didn't turn out to be that, unfortunately.
No. Like this was like at the end of this dream sequence, then the reality set in for all of us, viewer included.
Yes, I know. That's right. And here's an example of things getting a little too real, because in this movie has a habit of doing that, where things get a little too real and it just bogs things down. So Gordie and Caan are driving because they work for they empty porta-potties for a living.
Right.
So they're like sanitation guys, and they're driving in like the big sewage truck. Gordie's complaining about how his dad wants him to be a cop, and then we cut to Caan, and Caan goes, "Oh, I don't have a dad."
Right.
Like, man,
it's like why did you send this to Rachel Dratch as Debbie Downer to do your rewrites?
As the camera
pushes
it at his face.
As his lips quivering because he's trying to find a smile.
Yeah.
But that's what it felt like.
But that plot point never comes up again.
No!
But it's like they felt like they needed, you really need to know the Caan character at a deep human level. Right. Well, at least you have a dad.
Yeah. We'll give you plenty of reasons to feel bad for Gordie, but don't forget, Caan doesn't have a dad.
Caan doesn't have a dad. Basically, they go through a drive-through to try to impress some girls. Gordie is incredibly inappropriate. They eat their food at the back of the sewage truck while there's raw sewage just dripping down.
Just dripping.
There's an old lady. This old lady character pops up several times in the movie. It's basically
she makes meatballs for Robbie Hart in Wedding Singer.
Yeah, well, it's funny because the fact that they cast an Adam Sandler actress in this role, because it's a very Adam Sandler old people are like the butts of jokes.
Yeah.
Like that's such like every Adam Sandler movie has a character or two like that, where it's like
but they're also not like making fun of the old person necessarily. They're just putting them in a situation that they would never be in, and they're like, "Oh, look at that lady.
Oh, she's doing hip hop.
Oh, that's fun."
Yeah. And so she's like this, get me a shirt extra tight.
Right. It's like she's like an 87-year-old groupie.
Yeah. We cut back to Dad and was like the sister and mom or whatever.
Yeah.
He's gloating. Dad's gloating to Gordie. Your sister shot her first perp today.
Right.
Because that's something that police officers should be proud of.
Take pride in it.
Mm-hmm. We're at a Nitro taping now, Oz. Gordie and Caan are there in Cheyenne, Wyoming.
Yeah, they've been bragging about them having tickets to the Cheyenne show.
They're backstage for some reason. They're oogling the Nitro girls, including Sasha, Gordie's favorite. Mean Gene introduces Diamond Dallas Page, who's the heel of the movie. Yeah. He's the bad guy. Jimmy King is the baby face. He's the good guy. So he's the one that the crowd pops for. DDP is told by Titus Sinclair, follow the plan.
Yeah.
So they start wrestling in the ring. DDP starts stiff punching King for real. King's like, what's going on?
It's the Cheyenne screw job is what it is.
Yeah, basically. A la the Bret the Hitman Hart, Shawn Michaels, Montreal screw job.
Right.
The locker room empties. They all turn on King. He loses the title, DDP. Titus tells King, you're out. You're done. Driving back home, Gordie and Caan are crying. They blame it on allergies. They decide they need to find Jimmy King. And after they crash their sewage truck, in a scene that's fraught with hilarity, they decide to thumb it to Atlanta. So a bunch of nuns pick him up. They end up at a hacker's house because the hacker, played by, was it Sherman from American Pie?
Yeah, the Shermanator.
Yeah, has to track down Jimmy King using the powers of the internet. We get a hilarious scene of Scott Caan with a Discman in his hand singing along to Britney Spears.
Oh my God, it was so funny. Yeah. I know. This is great.
This movie's awful.
It was bad.
I apologize to you for making you watch it. Again, I had never seen it before, and I thought it was going to be one of those just the jaunty early 2000s romp with no consequences.
Right.
And it wasn't. It was this like terrible road trip movie.
Yeah.
That just involved them,
Yeah, I
wouldn't
even call it I wouldn't even call it like wrestling was even like the candy shell.
No.
It was just it didn't matter.
No. Nothing matters in this movie other
you could have
I'm sad because my hero King needs to wrestle.
You could have had this exact same story about somebody getting fired from Walmart and it wouldn't have changed anything.
So they track down Jimmy King's house. They go to his estranged wife, played by, of all people, Caroline Ray. She has a very itchy crotch, by the way, Oz.
Yeah.
She asks if they want to see her crabs up close. It's funny.
Yep, it's funny.
Mm-hmm. So it turns out Jimmy hasn't been home in 2 years. He stole their RV.
His son needs braces.
Yeah, he does. My Own Worst Enemy plays again as they track down Jimmy.
Yep.
They try to get him to go back to Sinclair, blah, blah, blah. They sneak Jimmy backstage to another Nitro taping where he attacks DDP with a toilet lid. And Sinclair says, we'll give you one more chance. Next week, Nitro. Triple cage match. Triple decker cage. You win, you get $1 million. You lose, you're done for good.
Yeah. I mean, even the premise of, like, here's Titus Sinclair, supposedly, like, the real Titus Sinclair, you know?
Yeah.
Not on camera. Like, but even the deals he makes are just so, like, wrestling bait. Like, you're like, oh, one more shot next week. You know, and it's like, it's like even in just normal conversation about job security and livelihood, everything is built promo. Like,
it's all
like, all right, you got one more shot next week on Nitro, the triple cage match. And it's like, it's
all kayfabe. It's all part of the script.
Yeah. And it's like, I don't know. It just, I almost felt like the end of this movie should have just stopped and said, catch the end next week on Nitro. You know?
Well, it's funny. I also read in the trivia that they had, I don't think they shot it, but they had originally scripted a different ending, like a mid-credit ending, where, like, the end of the movie ends and all that stuff happens and, you know, King wins and, you know, spoiler alert for those who are really hooked on the plot description we're giving you here. But Sean and Gordie are backstage and King and DDP are like shaking hands and like backslapping and it turns out that the entire thing was a bit and DDP just turns like to the camera and says like, welcome to the show, and then like winks at him.
Yeah.
Which like, this whole concept is probably going to come up with me later.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
it's like how, you can only peel so many layers off a rotten onion.
Yeah. Like... off a bloomin' onion.
Outback Steakhouse.
Let's see. Gordie and Sean arranged for a special trainer, Sal Bandini, who, as you said before, is played by Academy Award winner Martin Landau.
Yeah.
Basically playing Stu Hart, a real life famous professional wrestling trainer. Stu's Dungeon up in was like Edmonton or something like that. Gordie picks Sasha up for a date because that happened.
Yeah, all you have to do is be nice to a Nitro girl, and she'll hook up with you.
And as you're being nice to her, tell her that you have a poster of her on your bedroom wall.
It always works. Yeah.
Yeah. They fall for it every time.
Mm-hmm.
They stay at her place for the date. He brings her bananas because the flower guy was closed.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah, it's like, you still managed to bring her something. That was nice.
Yeah. They literally wrestle each other in her bedroom. He decks her when she takes off her top, and he yells, "Foreign objects!"
I think it's important also to remind our listeners and viewers that just a mere 4 years prior, they played brother and sister in Scream.
Yep, that's where Scream came into the movie Marriage, is that they were both there, and they were playing brother and sister.
And now they're playing with foreign objects.
They go to a local gym to like try to recruit Goldberg, because Goldberg just hangs out at a local gym in like Alabama or wherever they are. Back at Sal's, Sid Vicious and Perry Saturn break in.
It's like if this movie doesn't date itself enough.
Yeah. Sal gets the drop on him. Saturn says that Sinclair sent them to prevent Sal from training Jimmy. Sid Vicious breaks a chair over Sal's back, hospitalizing him. While at the hospital, it's revealed that Sasha is in cahoots with Sinclair.
Oh, no.
Who could have seen that coming?
Oh, not the head nitro girl and her guy that pays her bills. Oh.
And Gordie overhears, and he breaks up with her outside.
Yeah. Can't believe she did that to him.
Mm-hmm. So now we get a road trip for redemption here. Jimmy goes home, apologizes to Caroline Ray, whose character's name is Eugenia. She kicks him in the groin several times. They then go back to Wyoming, where more cop stuff.
Yeah.
Gordie decides to become a cop, blah, 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 because we need conflict in the movie. And then we're back at Vegas. We're at the big Nitro event a week later.
Yeah, we're suddenly at MGM Grand.
Yeah, Gordie
Two weeks after Cheyenne, Wyoming.
Yep.
They're at the MGM Grand.
Uh-huh. So, of course, Gordie doesn't come because he decided to train to be a cop.
That's right. So,
it's just Sean there with him, and Sean is in his new persona. What was Sean's new persona?
Sugar Daddy.
That's right. Because nothing says pro wrestling valet like a white male pimp.
Mm-hmm. Yep, he's a sugar daddy.
Yep. Backstage, Sinclair tells Sting, Crow Sting, not Surfer Sting.
Right, yeah.
You can't.
Although Surfer Sting would have been awesome. I like Surfer Sting.
Yeah. I find Crow Sting to be just kind of goofy funny. It's more like laughing at the bit, or Surfer Sting. It's still kind of goofy, but it's more fun.
Right, but it's like, I felt like Surfer Sting was there before Ultimate Warrior, so he kind of wins that one just a hair. But then, like, Crow Sting was poignant for a minute when Crow was out. Yeah. And then he just stayed Crow. And then suddenly...
For the next 25 years of his career.
Exactly. It's like, good for him, but I always like Sting.
Can't rain all the time.
No. He's always looking for Fun Boy.
Yep. Again, it's the triple cage match, Oz, where like the belt is suspended above the top cage. Again, it's like a triple decker.
Yeah.
And of course, Michael Buffer intros the match.
Of course he is. Probably the highest paid person in the
I'm
cast.
Sure. I have a feeling he costs more than anybody else. Sean tells DDP what an upside down diamond looks like. This is a PG podcast, so we'll just leave it at that. Several wrestlers come out. Jimmy holds his own, but he's eventually taken down by his son, who's also now a pro wrestler.
Yep. Who is... Yeah. Yep. Yep. He did.
Yep, that was there. That happened. Goldberg comes out to help. Goldberg and Disco Inferno and Billy Kidman and Booker T. I love Booker T.
Yeah, I do too.
They all come down to help, but they can't get into the cage. The cage is locked. They can't get in.
How are they going to get in?
And the King's getting beat up. Whatever can we do? Gordie then shows up, and he's on a cop motorcycle, and he drives down the ramp and jumps the motorcycle into the lock of the cage, unlocking it.
Yeah.
It's
probably the same chassis and motor that the car at the end of Grease had. It just, this thing got some air.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, it flies a multi-100-pound police motorcycle into a ring full of people.
Yes. Breaks right through. It's no holds barred at this point.
Because he's the law.
He is. That's his bit now. He's the law. DDP and Jimmy fight to the top. DDP throws Jimmy off just as Diamond Dallas Page is about to grab the belt. Sting shows up. Sting, because that was the thing he did in the late 90s. He would show up and save the day at the end of Nitro. Kicks DDP off the top.
Every week.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, every week.
He turns to the camera and says, Jimmy King is all right by me. Thanks, Steve Borden.
Why is that? We don't know.
Yeah.
He's just all right.
Is. So King and DDP eventually climb back up to the top. Jimmy King body slams DDP through all 3 cages.
Yeah. Did he die?
DDP?
Yeah. Not DDP in real life, but in the fall from that far, and then he laid there bleeding from his mouth, and I'm like, he's dead. There was no reason for that character to be alive at all. He should be dead.
Yeah, he should be, yes. Jimmy grabs the belt, declares victory. Gordie and Caan throw Sinclair into the crowd where he's beaten up. We then get an epilogue scene. We're back in front of the same mini-mart, Oz.
Yeah.
Sean's talking to the same kids. Goldberg is with Gordie inside of the mini-mart. Goldberg, of course, is wearing nothing but his wrestling attire. That's
all he had.
Yeah. Throws Ahmed Zappa out a glass door. And then, Oz, this is where this movie really, really, I think, you could argue it jumped the shark from the beginning, but we end on the most bizarre note that a movie could end on. So this oversized Jeep pulls up, driven by one of the scantily clad Nitro girls.
Yeah.
To pick up Goldberg and Caan and Gordie.
Right.
In the back of this open air Jeep, there's this world's smallest 3-person hot tub, which I'm pretty sure was just a 33-gallon garbage can.
Oh, I'm sure it was.
With 2 more Nitro girls and a shirtless Martin Landau, Oscar award winning Martin Landau.
Yeah.
And he looks at the camera and says, "God bless America."
You might as well have just said, "It's good to be the king."
And then roll credits.
That's it. Yep. And then we see bloopers.
Yes. Then we get bloopers. And folks, that is 2000's Ready to Rumble, the WCW produced movie that was the final nail in the WCW coffin. They actually, to help promote this movie, they had David Arquette out. And he became, for a week or two, the WCW champion.
Mm-hmm. He's a huge wrestlehead.
Yes.
For real. So good for him that that it all worked out for David Arquette. But
yeah, not for WCW or Ready to Rumble.
I'm not on TikTok, but they flow into Facebook every once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lady who has this little her TikToks or whatever, and she kicks off. Basically, what she's doing is she's watching somebody prepare food. And the recipe never looks good. Sure. And she never watches these videos prior. So she just green screens herself in there, and she kicks off everyone by saying, "Everybody's so creative." And then she just MST3Ks her way through these people preparing food.
Okay.
Get yourself 3 pounds of ground beef and put it right in the middle of a dish. It's whatever they're doing, she's narrating it for you. But of course, it is just none of them work out. They're just garbage. You never even see them finish because they're just TikToks. They're not very long. But it's just trash food preparation. And somebody being like, everybody's so creative. And that is how I feel this movie is. is us watching it going okay. I feel bad for the people that ponied up the $24 million to make this movie.
It all came from Bam Bam Bigelow.
It must have been, yeah.
All right. Well, I think Oz. I think it's that time where Oz and I give our own unique rating to the film we've been talking about. In this case, 2000's Ready to Rumble, kicking off Wrestlers and Movies Month.
Yeah.
Oz, how would you rate this flick?
I'm going to rate this on the feeling you have when when somebody kicks out of a 2 count when you wanted the match to be over.
Okay.
This is a gut busting 2 count.
Got it.
What do you give it?
I'm gonna give this movie. We're gonna go with 17 disinterested Rose McGowans.
Oh yeah, she hated this movie.
Yeah, and you could tell while she was filming.
Oh yeah, that she did not want to. Like, why were you there?
I got a feeling she was like contractually obligated to do something.
She had to have been.
Yeah. Either that or it was the easiest of easy paychecks.
Yeah, and even then, it's like, ugh. It's like, I've mentioned before on previous shows the importance of good directing, because I'm not going to go as far to say David Arquette is a good actor.
He's not.
He's a nepo baby, and that he comes from a long line of art, but it's fine. Like, but I also think he's at least somewhat decent in picking his roles. Like, he was fine in the Scream franchise. Like, the things he's been in match him well. He's not trying to
Eight-legged freaks.
Right. Like, I almost feel like he's aware of what he should be in. Such as like the lesser Baldwin brothers. They're like, look, we're not trying to steal Alex's spotlight here. I know what I'm going to be doing. But even in this, like, it's just like how, like, it showed Wes Craven could pull good performances out of David Arquette, and Brian Robbins cannot. And so there you go. Yeah.
All right, well, next up, folks, we've got Outside In Sight, where Oz and I have taken our time scouring the interwebs, looking for unprofessional reviews that tickle our funny bones, and we hope they tickle yours as well. Oz, what kind of Outside Insight do you have for us this week?
This one tickled my funny bone. This one comes from Letterboxd from Vinny the Mooch 12.
As opposed to the prior 11 Vinny the Mooch.
Exactly. Well, those are his sub accounts.
Okay.
Like, he likes to start over. This is his 12th, possibly his final account. This was left December 16th of 2022. Ooh, it's a 5-star review.
Out of 5, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Such a great sports movie. Highly underrated. Hilarious. And as a huge pro wrestling fan, it's one I hold near and dear to my heart. I have it on repeat most nights. LOL. WWKD.
What would King do?
What would King do? I got his bracelets. I have it on repeat most nights.
Most nights. I wonder what is playing on the non-most nights.
Raw and SmackDown and AEW and really any night that has pro wrestling on. Ready to Rumble's not on repeat, but
VHSs of 1997's Nitro.
Yeah, exactly. But most nights this is on.
Most nights it's Ready to Rumble.
Yeah. What do you have for your Outside Insight?
I got 2 that I'm gonna bring to the table here, as they're both from the Internet Movie Database. They are both 10 out of 10 reviews.
Oh, good.
The first one was left just a couple years ago in July 2020 by Caan Geek. Recently showed my 2 homeboys this instant classic. From the get-go, they were rolling on the floor, laughing like little schoolgirls. David Arquette has the comic timing of an old Chevy Chase, and he delivers it better than any FedEx postman on earth. A must-see for people with eyes and taste. 11 out of 10. That one might have been a little over the top there, but it's still funny nonetheless.
Oh, I thought it was hilarious.
Roll on the floor like a little schoolgirl.
An old Chevy Chase.
The other one is from Logger 6 from April 2000, so this was right at the time of the release.
It sounds like someone's like CB handle.
Breaker is a Logger 6.
Logger 6, heading down Highway 24.
Got a Smokey behind the Denny's.
That sounds crude.
Yeah. That's how they make moons over my hammer.
That's right. Anyone looking for Smokey behind Denny's, just catch me up. Logger 6. Over and out.
I love this film, and I feel that it was a matter of time before they would make a funny movie even funnier than The Waterboy. I recommend this film for anyone feeling depressed because it will bring the laughter out of you and it will give you chills to know that someone can make such a funny movie like Ready to Rumble.
Even if you're depressed, there's laughter in there.
Even if you have a clinical mental illness,
there's laughter.
Yeah. You don't need therapy. You don't need psychotropic medication.
You need Jimmy King.
You need Scott Caan.
Right. Oh, wow.
All right, well, it's that time, Oz.
Yeah.
It's that time for our signature segment, the 3-2-1, in which Oz and I each share 3 goods, 2 bads, and 1 about the film in question, in this case, Ready to Rumble. Oz, what are your 3 goods of the infinite goods that can be pulled from this movie?
My first one is the Nitro Girls. I forgot about the Nitro Girls. And... you know, in that year 2000, granted, I didn't see it then, but this would have been around the time that I would have really enjoyed watching the Nitro Girls, as well as watching In Living Color, for the Fly Girls. It's like, it really tapped into my Running Man, like, ooh, a dance squad, and so that was it. It was, because I think the Nitro Girls obviously they weren't respected enough, but they were fun. I'd much rather have the Nitro Girls doing their little thing than cut to another dumb promo of some dumb wrestler in the locker room, with just because I don't watch wrestling now, but I feel like the bulk of the shows are like, they've switched. I just feel like now it's like we've got 3 matches over the next 2 hours, and we're gonna drop 75 promos in between. We're gonna when you send the wrestlers to the ring with a microphone, they're not gonna wrestle. And it's just, I don't know when that shift happened, but I wasn't present when it happened, and I'm glad. I think some of it happened around the Attitude Era, the Stone Cold Rock. But you had Stone Cold and The Rock could pull it off. And they were about the only 2 that could pull it off. And I feel like everybody at WWE now has a microphone. Yeah,
there was definitely diminishing returns after that. I remember when Nitro was 3 hours, you would see like 13, 14 matches in those 3 hours. And granted, like, again, pro wrestling, you have to have the storylines, and there are going to be spots, like in interviews and things, but the pacing was better, those spots were more succinct, and you really got to see the talent perform, and that's where that was at the time why I leaned WCW over WWF, just because I liked watching the art of pro wrestling.
I did too. And what I grew up with, with your Hogan era, where occasionally you'd have a Saturday night's main event on, otherwise you're watching it every Sunday. Again, it was like a 2-hour spot of how many matches can we fit in here? And I feel like it's the other way now. It's like, hey, Roman Reigns is still our champion, despite the fact of not wrestling for the last 13 months.
Exactly.
Whereas I remember you'd watch Sunday mornings, you'd see titles change hands, and it was like, it was a magical time. And so good for the Nitro Girls. I forgot about them, and it was like, good for you. I wonder what they're doing today. What are they doing today?
I'm chuckling because as I'm remembering this, and this is how they did their spots at WCW. They would do like little things that would lead directly into the matches. Do you remember Dean Malenko?
Oh yeah,
the man of 1,000 holds.
Oh yeah. I couldn't remember his
personality, but he was good in the ring.
Yeah,
he and Chris Jericho, a very young, like mid 20-something Chris Jericho, had a feud. And Jericho came out one time to challenge the man of 1,000 holds, saying he was the man of 1,004 holds. And he came out with this reams of like dot matrix, like a big print off of all his 1,004 holds, and he would just look down the list and name them. like hold 74 arm bar, hold 218, German suplex, hold 427 arm bar. I don't know why that popped in my head.
Oh, that's fun though, because it's like because Jericho's another, he could work the mic, and Dean Malenko was like WCW. Like I don't know which one's first, but it's like WWF had Ken Shamrock, which was pretty much the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah, you weren't there to listen to them because they couldn't put a sentence together, but they were fun enough workers.
Yeah, they were for sure. So that Nitro Girls
was one. Yep.
my second good, and this only comes up because it was a bad of yours a few weeks ago, is the I got a chuckle because this does fall in that era of movie where there was constantly music playing.
Yes.
And so my second good is the constant music that you love so much.
I am my own worst enemy.
I got a kick out of it because I'm like, oh man, I bet Curtis is hating this. Like even like the road trip with the nuns. Let's get him playing some music. We got to have him playing music. And my third is much like I get a kick out of it when you're sharing an outside insight that calls out a movie.
Yeah.
The inclusion of the lesser talent and how it dates the movie. When Tony Schiavone's calling names as they're running down, and there's Disco Inferno.
Yeah, there's Billy Kidman.
Right. Juventud Guerrero. And I'm like, someone like Goldberg who at this point, like he kind of stands the test of time because he's still around. And, and Diamond Dallas Page has been around forever. But then you get some of these guys that are just little blips on the radar.
Yeah, there's Conan and Van Hammer.
Yeah, exactly. And Perry Saturn and Sid Vicious. And it's like, it's just great because it's like, nobody, if you played that today to somebody who is, let's even say they're a wrestling fan, they're going to recognize Goldberg. Yeah. There's a good chance they'll recognize DDP. And
Sting.
Sting. They won't recognize Rey Mysterio because he's maskless in this. This was like his maskless phase. But like virtually everybody else is going to be like, who? Yeah. Who's that? Who's that guy? Who? And so that's my third good is, they incorporated the talent of the day, but it doesn't stand the test of time.
Sure. Yeah.
What about you? What are your three goods?
Well, I only had three goods down, so I was going to have to be making stuff up on the spot, and you didn't take any of my goods.
Oh,
which is bizarre, because none of them are really good.
No, mine weren't either.
My first good is that David Arquette gives it the old college try.
He does.
He, for better or for worse, David Arquette pours himself into this role. Again, you can tell it was kind of a passion project for him, as you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, for sure.
He's a real pro wrestling fan. And so he gave it the old Arquette. He gave it the full Arquette. Good too. The Butterfinger product placement at the hospital. I think Butterfinger's kind of an underrated candy bar. Butterfingers make a good Blizzard.
They do. If you want to eat a candy bar now and still have it in your mouth an hour later, eat a Butterfinger. Eat a
Butterfinger. If you want to keep enjoying it for the entire afternoon. Yeah.
It doesn't even lose its flavor when it's stuck in your teeth 3 days from now.
Yeah, you want to save it for the dentist in a couple of months, have a Butterfinger.
Yeah, he'll appreciate it.
So that's it. That's my second good is Butterfinger product placement at the hospital. And good 3, Academy Award winner Martin Landau.
Yeah,
kind of similar to David Arquette.
He's having a good time.
He really he gave it the old Stu Hart here.
Yeah, he did.
And then his that just absolutely bizarre ending.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. Shirtless Martin Landau in a garbage can with 2 women.
Yeah. Probably ad-libbed it.
Probably. Didn't even know the camera was on.
Right.
God bless America. And you're up, Martin. Oh, we're rolling?
Oh, sorry.
All right, so those are my 3 goods. Oz, what are your 2 bads?
My first bad is Oliver Platt and Rose McGowan as believable WCW talent.
Yeah.
No, they just
no,
they just didn't work.
I like both of them as actors.
Yeah, I do too. I just felt like they were Scott Conned into making this movie, and
Scott Caan.
but it's like they're there, and they're just, I don't know, like both of them were outperformed by professional wrestlers.
Yeah,
acted. Yeah, like Diamond Dallas Page outacted Oliver Platt.
Yes,
and so okay. And Rose McGowan just didn't want to be there. I mean, it was crystal clear she did not want to be there.
Yeah, she wanted nothing to do with it. Hand me my paycheck.
She's like, green screen my leg again and turn it into a machine gun before I do this movie.
During one of the bloopers at the end, it was one of the scenes where like she and David Arquette, like he was yelling something at her, and it turned into like a blooper type cut, and then she, like. You could and she was in the foreground. You could just kind of see her silhouette almost, and like they yelled cut, and she's like, "Yeah, you can stop." Like, really stop. Yeah. And she just got like ugh within like 2 seconds of them yelling cut, and she just walks away.
Yeah, it had to have been just grueling.
Yeah. I mean, she was only there to look hot.
Yeah,
that's it.
And she did. And I mean, so like, I'm not taking anything away from her when I commented earlier. She did. She looked great. But then you're putting her in a ring with the Nitro Girls, who are again there for the same reason, only with experience.
And they're also like a choreographed dance
team. Yeah,
and like that's what they do. And I don't know if she's a trained dancer or not.
No, and I do. I just felt, I won't say she's miscast, but I felt bad for you, Rose McGowan. If you're watching this,
I'm sure you are,
or listening even, whatever. But we do appreciate you. My second bad, it's just boring. The movie itself is just boring.
It's just a dull movie for a premise that should be bad, but should at least be fun.
Right, and it wasn't either. It wasn't fun. It just was boring. And so that's my second bad. What about you?
Oh God, my there's so many. We were like 20 minutes in, and I turned to Patreon subscriber Melissa L and say, and I got 6.
Speaking of that, we got to give a shout out to Patreon subscribers. Go ahead.
Well, we could do that during the wrap up.
Yeah, we will.
And I turned over and said, I already got 6 bads and like 2 haws and no goods.
Right.
So, oh man, I'm really gonna have to. Oh God, which ones do I want to go with? Because they're all horrible, and I feel like
share them all.
Scott Caan is awful in this movie, like awful. And not only is he awful, but like he looks like the personification of the year 2000.
Yeah.
Like if you could just take someone and transport them from that era, it was this character in this movie.
Yeah, he's just, I agree. I couldn't agree with you more there.
I mean, just the David Arquette, in real life winning the title thing. Gordie and Sean peeping on the Nitro Girls. Ew. I'll go. Those are all unofficials.
Right.
Cops bragging about shooting people.
You didn't like that?
No, that one didn't quite sit with me. I'll go with my other one. Here's an obvious one. The R word is used. There's ableist language. There's homophobic language. There's toxic male language. There's abusing kids. The scene where Martin Landau was like beating up like middle school wrestlers.
Oh, right, yeah.
There's transphobic language. Even like Sinclair's outfit is like vaguely racist of like Native Americans.
Oh yeah, like, it's very
it
was a lot of fringe. And...
Yeah, like this movie just wasn't good for progress and things like that. No. All right, those are my 2 bads, Oz. What do you got for Huzz?
How tall is the MGM Grand to surprise people with a hidden triple cage in the rafters? And we know we're there because they show an aerial shot of the MGM Grand, and then they're doing their show, and then they announce the triple cage, and then they start lowering this like 3-tiered wedding cake down from the rafters, but it's not collapsed down. It's been erected the entire time, but yet is so high in the rafters that it's not like distracting anyone's view. How tall is the MGM Grand to hide a triple cage?
They had to displace the lions in the lobby to fit that in.
And how far up is Sting even if he's above the triple cage that's been hidden?
Well, in Crow Sting, he's always hanging out in the rafters.
Yeah. And then they'd always cut to him up. Like, I just flashback to like when he actually would do that. Like how long was Sting in the rafters? Because they'd cut to him mid-show just hanging out in the rafters with a spotlight. And I'm like, were you up there the entire time? For a 3-hour show.
They probably just had an extra go up there and put on like a Sting mask.
Probably.
One of the local jobbers, they paint up and put him up there.
Oh, I'm sure it was. Like D'Lo Brown, right? Like Demolition Smash is up there in the rafters.
And he's already got the makeup on. You just got to change the color.
Yeah, why not? All right, what's your huh?
My huh, and again, there's so many to pick from here. I'm gonna go back to a wrestling thing. The King's finishing move, was it the King's Crown? Was a jumping double axe handle to the head.
That's all it was.
Worst finishing move ever.
Was it?
What are some other bad finishers?
Giant leg drop?
Yeah, Hogan's leg drop. What did Andre the Giant have a finisher? Was it just like a body slam or something?
I think it was. I don't. You know, in all my time watching wrestling, I don't remember watching Andre ever win a match. I feel like every match he was in was always like DQ'd somehow, or count out, or or Haku would win for him, I just felt like he, at that stage that we got involved, I think he was more gimmick than anything.
Sure.
But yeah, Hogan's leg drop was bad. The 5-knuckle shuffle was terrible.
Oh yeah. 5-knuckle shuffle.
Right.
What were some of your favorite finishers?
I liked Undertaker's tombstone.
Mm-hmm.
Just for the theatrics of it.
Sure.
Warlord's running powerbomb was pretty sweet. Just because he was just this mountain of muscle, and to watch him do that with virtually anyone was really cool.
Just throw a guy over his shoulder like a potato sack.
Right. The Frankensteiner was really cool.
Yeah.
Perfect Plex, as simple as it was just, you never saw anybody else do it but him. Which I think,
and there was the gimmick to it also, like nobody could kick ass.
Right, and so that I liked. I do miss the days when finishing moves were still just moves that nobody else did, like Jake the Snake's DDT. It was such an easy finishing move, but nobody else really ever did a DDT. Yeah. And so when you saw him wrap somebody up, you're like, uh-oh, it's game over. Who else? Like I was never a big fan of like Tito Santana's flying,
too weak.
Yeah. I really theatrically, I think Savage's flying elbow drop was probably my favorite.
There was two types of finishers that I liked, and one was like the spectacle, like you said, like the theatric spectacle, like the the tombstone or the elbow drop, the things that, or even like Harlem Heats, like Booker T would power slam a guy, which was a pretty simple move, but then Stevie Ray would power slam, and then Booker T would do like a front flip leg drop off the top rope.
Right.
Like that was cool.
Yeah, just some of that stuff. And go ahead.
So I also really like the finishers that just come out of nowhere. Like
those are sweet.
Like Sweet Chin Music can come out of nowhere. Even like the diamond cutter could come out of nowhere. Yeah. Randy Orton's finisher can come out of nowhere.
Yeah, the Legend Killer, that was a cool one. Because again, it's just it's almost like the opposite ends of the spectrum. The ones where the whole arena starts to gasp because they know it's coming. Especially when the opponent has 20 seconds to get out of the way but never does because of the spectacle. But then, like you said, on the other end, there's just flash out of nowhere. And I felt that's where some of even like Jake Roberts' DDT would flow in. Sometimes you would really telegraph it and just hold it, and then sometimes you try to slap it on, and Rick Martel would always weasel his way out of it.
Rick Martel. The model Rick Martel.
Yeah. But no, there were, I I was never a big fan of like Warrior Splash. When I was a kid, I think I was.
No, like a splash was cool if it was a big guy doing it, but Warrior wasn't a big guy.
No. The Rockers, their double drop kick off the top rope was really cool. Mm-hmm. But again, you saw those guys flying all over the place. So, but yeah, I do miss it. I do miss the era where I felt finishing moves were a little simpler. But now they're all spectacle. I feel like it's like we're gonna do a double backflip off the top rope and do a frog splash, and I'm like, the double backflip doesn't add anything to the punishment. It's just showing your ability to jump in the air. I like it when the effort behind the move translates into the move.
Sure.
Like the more Bret Hart stomps his foot, it's going to be a good Sweet Chin music.
Or Shawn Michaels. And
who did I say?
You said Bret Hart.
Bret Hart, yeah. Bret Hart.
Although, speaking of Bret Hart, I really like some of the submission-based ones. I kind of lump into the ones that can come out of nowhere because he could throw that on somebody from any position.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, Bret Hart
rewinding in my head.
Yeah. Bret Hart, he could throw his on out of anywhere.
Yeah, that sharpshooter throwing. I also really liked, and we could talk at length about Chris Benoit the person and how that ended, but But his finisher, I love the crippler crossface.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
again, so you can throw that on anybody out of nowhere.
Yeah, I didn't mind a submission move. I remember as a kid, just really getting into it. Just the whole thing of like getting mad when they when someone would put on a figure four and grab the bottom rope for leverage, like and I'm like,
he's cheating.
I know, I would.
You could, look, the rope was shaking.
Right, I totally would. But yeah, some of those were, it's just painful to watch too. Like Goldberg's spear was tough to watch, just because it's like, oh, that had to hurt, even if it's not supposed to. Or Yokozuna's big butt drop from the second rope.
Yeah, those spears from Goldberg did look like they hurt.
Yeah, and I'm sure they did. But yeah, so that was fun. I like.
There was also the time that Goldberg almost literally killed the Undertaker.
Oh yeah, I remember hearing about that. I don't think I've ever seen it, but
Goldberg was trying to lift him up for that like jackhammer suplex he does, and basically dropped Undertaker directly on the top of his head.
Man,
like he just got him up but couldn't get him over, and he just dropped him.
Right.
It was scary.
Yeah.
Oh, and Goldberg also basically ended Bret Hart's career also.
Yeah.
Because he really kicked him in the face during a match.
Well, you get these big muscle, like a Bill Goldberg and a Brock Lesnar, and it's like they don't have a lot of finesse. They're just muscle and speed, and but it's almost like too much. Like and so they're just live wires out there.
My favorite wrestlers were always the guys who could like work in the ring, like Michaels, Bret Hart.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Kurt Hennig, Mr. Perfect. Eddie Guerrero,
Ricky Steamboat.
Yes, exactly. Even Flair in his heyday, was a good worker in the ring.
Yeah, these guys that they get in these marathon matches, and even though it's a long hour, you were really never bored because they could do it all.
Yeah, they knew how to put on a good show using their physical talents.
Yeah, guys like Hillbilly Jim.
He was a good worker, Hillbilly Jim.
Nikita Koloff.
Yeah, Hacksaw Jim
Duggan. And Boris Zukov, yeah. Bushwhacker Luke.
By far the superior of the Bushwhacker brothers.
Oh, he was much better than Butch, yeah. Butch was there. Butch was there for appearances, but it was Luke's show.
Butch was the eye candy. Luke was the worker.
Beauty and the Beast is what their original tag team name was. Oh. Well, speaking of Bill Goldberg, we want to give a shout out. We want to give a shout out to our Patreon subscribers, Don S, Aaron A, and Mandy K. Thanks for your monthly patronage. And so, yeah, but again, speaking of Bill Goldberg, we are going to come back next week with another wrestler in cinema, as we're going to watch the horror classic Santa's Sleigh. Santa's Sleigh, the 1 hour and 18-minute vehicle featuring a Mr. Bill Goldberg.
Yes. Looking forward to that, in large part because it's an hour and 18 minutes.
Is Fran Drescher in this movie? Rebecca Gayheart, Fran Drescher, Chris Caan.
What a cast list of A-listers there. That is A-list.
Hey. I believe we had a Fran Drescher appearance in a movie of yours not too long ago.
I was referring more to Chris Caan than anything else.
Oh, fair enough. So, Santa Claus is actually a demon who lost a bet with an angel, so he becomes the giver of toys and happiness. But when the bet is off, he returns to his evil ways. Bill Goldberg as Santa in Santa's Sleigh. Ooh, I just watched the promo where he kicks a dog. That's fun. Yeah.
Is this a prequel to that David Harbour Christmas movie?
Violent Night? No.
Yes, Violent Night.
Actually, I've heard that's really good. This is just not. I'm sure this falls into the suburban commando vein of I'm a wrestler, I can be in a movie. So Bill Goldberg, known for his acting chops. I'm kind of expecting it to be kind of fun. Like watching. Yeah.
With a movie like
with Chris Caan on board.
Movie name like Santa's Sleigh and Fran Drescher.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dave Thomas.
Dave Thomas. Let's say Dave Thomas is in here. Not Dave Thomas from Wendy's. Don't want to. Thomas
not Dave Thomas.
But Dave Thomas is Trevor from Arrested Development.
Or one of the Mackenzie brothers.
Yeah, not that either. So, but no, we will be back next week to watch Santa's Sleigh. I already have a good down, as it's an hour and 18 minutes. I love it when they clock in under 90.
That is a good. That is definitely a win.
All right, yeah. It's April. It's WrestleMania. I saw John Cena lost.
Wow.
So he lost. He lost, and he didn't have the U.S. title, but he had lost in a match to Austin Theory, whoever that is. But it's not going to hold a candle to Mr. Bill Goldberg as Santa Claus.
I mean, who can?
Yeah. Oh, look, he's kissing a barmaid. That's fun.
I love his picture on IMDb is just a waist-up shot of him in his wrestling tights, just screaming.
It's just being Bill Goldberg. Yeah.
It's not a traditional actor headshot. It's just it's like a magazine shot.
Yeah, it's. This
with his lats all flexed. Yeah,
he's all. I can't do that, so I can't flex my lats, but. Maybe I'll work on it. Social media-wise, you can catch us Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. We do have a link to Patreon down below. If you would like to join the crew, you do get access to our monthly episodes. We keep them in the vault, but they're a lot of fun. So, and you get to hear your name mentioned, which is also a lot of fun.
Most importantly,
yeah, it's like you don't even have to go sit in a doctor's office waiting room. We'll just do it here.
Yeah, we'll call your name. I like the idea that someone just needs to hear their name read aloud, so they go to the doctor. I just need that validation.
They felt it's cheaper. It's cheaper to do that than it is to go. Then they go to Starbucks. They're like, I've already hit my deductible. I'm just going to go to the doctor's office. I don't need a frap. I'll be fine.
I don't need the extra calories.
Right. So, all right. You got anything to send us out on?
I don't think so. I look forward to Santa's Sleigh next week featuring Bill Goldberg. Billiam
Goldberg.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, thanks a lot, listeners and viewers, for coming back to another week of Let's Talk About Flicks. We will be back next week with Santa's Sleigh as we wrap up. I think it's all uphill from here because Ready to Rumble was not good. So
yeah, no.
But I think it was trying to be good. I don't think the rest of the month is trying to be good. I think that's what'll make it good. So
yes.
I hope anyway, or else it'll be a terrible month. So, all right. Well, we'll see you guys next week. Take care.